diagnosis, and even in the notice of testimony, it states that there were never any physical threats that were there. There were never any physical altercations that took place, and so again, in response to the opening comment, there was never a plan. If there was a threat, and the threat that was mentioned had to do with shooting up, and they're shooting up the building, and we'll get into it in more detail. But Ms. Young refuted that, but during her testimony. But I would also say that if indeed the witness does testify that a threat was made, there was no plan. And so I would like to move forward and state that with regard to the decision that was made for the inpatient hospitalization, that the testimony by all witnesses demonstrated that the severity of the threats were not to the level of presenting a clear and present danger that required a 20-day in-hospital hospitalization.
Thank you. All right, let's call your first witness, Mr. Jim Frisk. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be mispronouncing your name, and I apologize, but the print on my screen is so small. So call your first witness, please.
No problem, Judge. Everybody gets it wrong except for I'd like to call Mr. Divine Adams as my first witness.
Yes, sir.
Mr. McBride, would you swear the witness, please?
Mr. Adams, can you please state and spell your name for the record?
Davon Adams, Davine, and then Adams, Adams.
Thank you. Can you please raise your right hand? Do you swear and or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So sworn.
Thank you. Sir, how are you currently employed?
I'm currently employed with the HorizonHouse. Mental health specialist.
I'm sorry, sir. I cut you off. What did you say? You're employed at HorizonHouse? What did you say after that?
HorizonHouse mental health specialist.
Okay, and what are your duties as a mental health specialist?
Well, basically, I meet with different participants, and we help them achieve certain goals as of housing, or maybe Social Security benefits, welfare benefits. We basically just support them with any activities of daily living that they may need.
Okay. Now, from November 8th to December 7th, did you have any contact with Miss Sadia Young?
You said from November 8th until when?
December 7th?
Yes, I did have contact with her on the 8th.
Okay. And can you tell us about that contact?
Well, that contact was basically just to, I went to Randolph Court to basically encourage her to allow me to support her to her new apartment that she had signed a lease for and she had received keys. We knew that her time at Randolph Court was going to be up shortly, so we were trying to get her out before the actual day that she had to leave, that she had to be discharged.
Okay. And did she not want to leave, sir?
No, she was really resistant about moving inside of her apartment. She was saying that she had found documentation from LNI stating that it wasn't livable, so she didn't want to go there. Actually, our conversation on the 8th was cut short because she, got up and left the table because she was basically set on not moving. She didn't want to leave there.
Did you have an opportunity to examine the or inspect the apartment?
Yes, I did. I was one of the people that first took her there.
And were there any issues with the apartment that you're aware of?
Yeah, it was issues with the windows. It's ground floor apartment, so the windows they didn't have bars on them, and it was issues with the locks, with the windows locking. So she didn't feel comfortable moving inside there with her being a single female, the only one living there, which was understandable. So we put in maintenance request for the locks to be fixed on the windows.
Was that done?
From my knowledge, yes.
Okay. So that was all the contact you had with the patient that day, with Miss Young that day?
On that day, yes.
And when was the next contact you had with her?
The next contact was on the 11th, which was actually the discharge date from Randolph Court. So that was the date that she was supposed to have been out of Randolph Court.
And this is November 11th.
Yes.
Okay, tell me what happened on the 11th, please.
Well, I came there and I actually met with the program director, Miss Griffin, I believe her name is. And we just basically, wanted to make sure that we was on the same page about her having to leave and us providing support so that her and her belongings can get to her apartment.
Okay. And what happened?
So we all sat down and, we all talked. It was me, it was Sadia, it was Miss Griffith, and then it was also another case manager that also worked there. So we all sat down and we talked and we reminded Sadia that today was her last day and that basically I was there to get her and her belongings to her apartment, but she refused to leave.
Did she tell you why she refused to leave?
Well, basically it was the same thing about the apartment wasn't livable.
Okay. What happened next?
Well, after that, she basically